Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Nick George with you guys once again for our Monday morning family meeting. And I'm a little sad. I'm a little sad. This is our last family meeting. I want to shout out all the parents that have been joining us all summer, whether you watched it live or you came back and watched the recording. I want to appreciate you guys publicly and loudly because we wouldn't have this program without you and your young scholars. So we definitely appreciate you guys. Yeah, this is our last one. And of course, I couldn't do this by myself. I'm going to bring Miss Rox Cruz to the screen. Miss Cruz, how you feeling this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. I obviously am in the home studio today where we're all a little down for the count in Casa de Cruz. So,
Yeah,
and you'll
man.
probably notice it in my voice today. It's been a rough couple of days. But yeah, I share the same sentiment. This is bittersweet. I'm excited for our talk today. I'm also sad that it is the last week of Freedom School and that it always brings up all the emotions, all the
all,
emotions.
all of the emotions. I was a hot mess at our finale last year. More
Yeah,
about
you
this
were.
year's finale in a second, but the tears and then the snot, and I couldn't see straight, and it was sweaty. It was a
It's
lot
not
going
it's
on.
not pretty. It's
It's
not
it's not
pretty.
cute at all. But as you guys know, our Freedom School program is not about us looking cute. It's for our young people. And this past week, we had a blast. The books we went over last week was amazing. So just so you guys know what we're going into this week, the theme this week, Rox, you know the theme for this week?
Well, it depends because are we talking about week 3 or are we
Week
talking
three.
about week 6? So, as you guys know, we've had issues with the books all summer, still like COVID shipping issues. And so every week got switched around from what it was originally supposed to be. Sorry that you're hearing my kid in the background right now. Um,
You're good.
so this week we are actually on I Can Make a Difference in Myself, Family, Community. Is it
Community.
community?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, this week's theme is community. And we have a couple of books here that our scholars are going to be going over. First up for our level 3 scholars, Sharon G. Flake is a favorite within the Freedom School community. And this is another book of her that we're going over called Pinned. It's an amazing book that has a lot of themes that I think our young people will be able to interact with. Obviously, there's the relational aspect, right? But you got two polar opposites of kids who have different strengths and they kind of complement each other. But how do you navigate that? How do you navigate building that relationship? There's a lot of amazing conversation that we look forward to having with our young people with this book. So if you have any experience of that weird time in school, drop that in the comments. We would love to see it. We're not going to laugh at you, not much at all. But if that sounds like your story, just shout us out and let us know it. The other book is a doozy, Fire in the Streets by Kekla Magoon. And wow, it's a companion novel. It's a part two because it's one of those series. This young lady is wanting to be a part of the Black Panther Party back in the '60s and trying to find her way in that whole conversation. We look forward to being to have this conversation with our young people and talk about how to use our skills, how to use our talents, how to use what we have inside of us. It's not easy as a young person, especially when you got a whole lot of energy to just get involved. And a lot of us remember last year, 2020, was rife with that energy, right? And Rox, this was actually conversation that you and I've had a whole lot in terms of young people who, not even just young people, but folks who want to get involved in the movement and not knowing where to fit, but then learning that there's work for everybody, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we go over with our kids every day is like everyone has a place at the table, no matter what you're talking about. So whether we're talking about our activities or whether we're talking about being involved in social action, it doesn't look the same for everybody. And so not everybody's going to be on the front line of a protest. You have people that are planning it. You have people that are the creative ones that want to make the posters. Like what we try to do in Freedom School is get them to understand every facet of it so that then when they want to go into their own social action that they're able to go, okay, this part was my strength and this is the part that I want to focus on, versus feeling like they're supposed to be doing everything or that they're supposed to just be on the front line when that's not necessarily everyone's role.
Right. Right. And it's tricky to learn. It's tricky when you really want to serve and really want to get involved into it. But this is why we're going over books like this. And this is why we're excited to have these conversations with our kids. These are our middle and high schoolers. We know they got a lot going on with them. So we're excited about that. Before we move into our special guest, I want to do the right thing and first acknowledge that we could not have our Freedom School program without some amazing sponsors. And I made sure and I wrote them out so I wouldn't forget them. First off, we have a host of churches and faith communities in Lynchburg that have been supporting the Listening's Freedom School program since 2019. So definitely want to show love to them. Some of our top level sponsors include Mustaches for Kids. Thank you guys for helping us out. Humankind, Centra Foundation, rather the Century Community Benefits, Greater Lynchburg Community Foundation for sure. They've been rocking with us since we first announced having a Freedom School program years ago. And Bank of the James always has always been a support. We want to thank you guys. If you stay in touch with our social media, you will see us shouting them out as the week goes on. Now, finale time. Let's chop that up first. Our finale is taking place this Friday, July 23rd, Riverside Park. We got mac and cheese, we got the baked beans, we got the cornbread, pound cake. I'm excited about the pound cake, like personally.
All y'all keep talking about this pound cake. I'm excited to try it for the first time. Everybody's like, "Yo, this pound cake though."
It's something special. We're getting it from Pound for Pound, I believe is the name of the business. It's a Black owned business because we got to show love. And if you haven't caught the theme yet, our theme this year is the cookout. So these are like cookout essentials. We're also getting some help from HC3, that's Hill City Community Church's men's ministry. They're going to be manning the grill, making sure that everything is copacetic. We're going to make sure we got dogs, we got burgers, we got vegetarian options for everybody. I heard whispers of apples and watermelon.
I heard that the kids don't call them hot dogs, though.
They don't. What do they call them?
Glizzies.
Glizz. Okay. I feel like that's a punchline. I feel like
I don't know where it comes from. I just know that they've been calling them glizzies every day. We've got them in lunch.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna chalk that up to my age and just leave.
Yeah, I'm bringing you up to speed, man.
I appreciate it.
Even though I'm older than you, I'm bringing you up to speed with what the cool kids say.
I appreciate it. But yeah, if you are a part of our Freedom School family this year, or if you were a part of our Freedom School family in our first year, we would love for you to join us. We'll be at Riverside Park this Friday, 4 p.m. Get ready to enjoy yourselves. You better participate in Harambe with us because we got to turn it up. We're going to be outdoors. Like, we got no excuse but to get loud.
Also, real quick, can we talk about how even with the cookout, everyone brings something to the table? So like it's all encompassing of the Freedom School way. Just in case nobody caught that, I want to make it clear. This doesn't mean you have to bring something other than yourself. I'm saying it goes along with everybody has something to bring to the table. This is the cookout. This is our family reunion. And you guys are actually going to meet the groups of families that we have in Freedom School. That's how they get split up every day. And every family has something to present this year. So be ready. I'm excited. And anyone that was involved in our first Freedom School year, you are more than welcome to come to this cookout. You do not have to have a scholar in Freedom School this year. This is the family reunion. It's the true cookout. And so it's open to all of you.
Definitely. If you have any questions at all about this cookout, you can check out our website to just learn a little bit more about our Freedom School program at welcometothelistening.org. Now, a few days before our finale, we have something that is just as, if not more important and more crucial to everything that our Freedom School program is about. We participate with all the other Freedom School sites in the country by observing the National Day of Social Action. And if I had a Jamaican air horn, this is where I would put it. Because we need to start bringing our young people into this conversation. There's a lot going on in this world around us, and not having them at the table, I believe, puts us at a major deficit. A major deficit. The theme in our first year, for those of you who did not know, was gun violence, and talking about just why we need to address it. Why we need to address it. It feels kind of like a giveaway, but our young people had a lot to say. And this is not even with us telling them what to say, because this is real to them. This is impacting their communities in a very true and very real way. This year's theme is youth justice. Youth who are in the justice system, and finding ways to serve them, to support them, to help them, and bring them back into the community without just leaving them on the sidelines. It's something that Rox and I are very passionate about. Obviously, we've had enough conversations on our own about law and order and justice. And it's exciting to be able to bring our young people into that. Rox, you want to drop any more knowledge about this year's National Day of Social Action?
Sure. So we are actually going to be meeting on Jefferson Street beside the splash pad at 10 a.m. with our posters ready and water bottles on Wednesday. And we will go from the splash pad. We'll walk down all the way down Jefferson towards the entrance of Percival's Isle, but we're not going that far. We will turn around before we get to the railroad tracks, and we will walk back to the splash pad area. We have a 2-hour permit. I don't think it's going to take that long for our march, but everyone is welcome. If you're not vaccinated, we still ask that you stay socially distanced, or that you're wearing a mask for this march, because we're expecting a lot of people, and we still want to keep it a safe space for everybody. Also, normal protest rules. At least I know in this area, none of the posters can be on sticks. Nobody can be carrying a weapon or pepper spray, and you have to stay out of the middle of the street. So we're just going to follow the rules. We're being good examples and teaching our kids how to protest the right way and have their voices heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely want to make sure we stay safe. One of their top concerns last time was if they would be safe, if they would get in trouble, if people actually wanted them to do that, like if they would get in trouble for protesting in the first place. So if you're able to join us, let's show these kids that we support them using their voices in this safe way. All right. Now, on to the main event, because I know y'all didn't come here to see my pretty face. I know that there's a bigger reason than that. I have had the honor of working together with a lot of people in our community that are passionate about young people. But this guy here has done a lot. I'm not going to go through the whole thing and read the whole bio that they send you. I'm going to just share what I know. I know this guy as a college grad. I know him as a ball player with the Jets. I'm sorry. Giants. Giants. That's a fumble, and I'm gonna hold that one. That's on me. But also, he's a poet too, like dropping those smooth bars on his Instagram. I caught a few of them, and I hold classes just in case you want to get a little tutorship going on. But make some noise for also the Dancing with the Stars champion, Mr. Rashad Jennings. Make some noise for the Jamaican air horn, can you please?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all having me on. And I like the air horn.
I had it on my.
Don't encourage it. Do not encourage it.
We gotta do it. I have it on my phone somewhere. Matter of fact, before we're done, I'm a yeah.
I'm gonna look forward to it. Wake me up this morning.
So how you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm great, sincerely. Like, I'm truly awesome. I'm enjoying life. I'm out here in Camarillo, California. Nobody knows where that is. It's 45 minutes like northwest of West Hollywood in LA.
Wow. So you are up early this morning, because it's definitely not 11 o'clock where you are.
It's not. We're 3 hour time difference. But seriously, I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation and be around you guys this morning.
Yeah,
Rashad needs some Harambe in his life.
Yeah.
That'll wake you up.
That would definitely wake you up. It's definitely a shot to the nervous system.
Harambe?
Yes.
What it's called?
It's
Okay,
like
that's
our
new on me.
morning pep rally every day.
Every day.
Every
Every
day.
day. It's a Kiswahili word that stands for pull together. And there is a history about it that we won't go into right now, but we have gone into with our kids. And it's basically a time of community. There's music, and then there's jumping. I saw a lot of stuff over the years with how people celebrate Harambe. So it's definitely a crazy way to get
Hmm.
the morning started. If you ever end up back in Lynchburg over the summer or across another Freedom School site across the country, I definitely encourage you to check it out, man.
All right, I'm gonna check that out, Harambe.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just one key part of our Freedom School program. But this year, with our National Day of Social Action, we thought it'd be a good idea, since you have your Camp 180 that works with young people, and some of the main issues, like topics with the Rashad Jennings Foundation, is addressing literacy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could say more to it than I can, but would you mind just going into a little bit about the whole purpose and emphasis behind Rashad Jennings Foundation and the Camp 180 weekend?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up. Like for Camp 180, I focus on, well, just to give you the whole entire history of the 180 weekend itself. There was a point in time in my life where I truly took a 180. I stopped blaming people. I stopped making excuses. I started taking ownership and responsibility over everything that I did, and that was my 180. And my life completely changed around once I had that attitude. I used to be, the kid that, my dog loves being underneath me. But I used to be that kid that would blame everybody for, why I wasn't at a position that I wanted to be at in life, right? And I would blame my teachers for why I wasn't doing the best on my academics. And so it took a while for me to catch that person in the mirror and really start to put more responsibility on that person. And once I did that, I had a big change in my life. Success started chasing me. And so the 180 weekend is really to come back to my hometown and give some of the secrets that's fortitude me a lot of success, not just, only with sports, but when it comes to financial reasons, when it comes to community reasons, when it comes to building entrepreneurship, a lot of things that I've been fortunate to do. And so I come in, and on a Thursday, we have a town hall meeting with the Chambers of Commerce, the local city, to see what we can do in the community. Friday, open mic night. Saturday, a football camp calling 180, call it Camp 180. And then on a Sunday, we have what I think relates to, what is it called? What was that word y'all said I needed to do?
Harambe.
Harambe.
Yeah.
It's on a Sunday. We have a family fun fest, and we just bring the local community together, churches and all the community based platforms, and we just fellowship at Miller Park and eat, have fun, have some bouncing balls, some music, some games where we can play softball, and I give my story. And I'm there just to kind of hug and be around the community, because community is a major, major, major impact to society. And I think that's your direct connection of how to change a neighborhood, is really to start with the community, not an entire nation.
I'm glad you dropped that about the community, because sometimes it kind of gets not swept under the rug, but we are so much more aware of the big meal ticket stuff.
Absolutely.
And, it's a little bit harder to pay attention to like what's going on our block or across the street or what have you. One question that we wanted to ask you, man, because I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about social issues. It's one of the focus areas that the listening uses the performing arts in. What would you say are the most important? Because I'm pretty sure it's more than one, but what social issues are the most important to you personally?
Social issues, and just
Yeah.
in general, the whole broad spectrum. I would say, I mean, social issues for me really involve, like, I get peculiar when it comes to the labels, but respecting people, having a line of respect in how to argue fair with people, because we all disagree with things, right? No,
Right.
there's no person that agrees with everybody. We're human. We're going to have disagreements, but to learn to do that respectfully, is something that I'm huge on. Now, what does that social issue fall under? I don't know, but I think it's the core of why there are so many issues itself.
Right.
So for me, that would be a big one, and to not have self. For me, I dislike anybody that plays the victim um, role, because I know I used to, when I was younger, and I know how toxic that is, and
Mhm.
and so that's just something I just disagree with overall.
With that being said, and with you saying that you really had to figure out how to do things on your own versus waiting for other people or blaming other people. One of the things that we try to teach our scholars in Freedom School is the importance of advocating for themselves,
Hmm.
and making sure that they are speaking up when something doesn't work for them.
Hmm.
I have for you right now is, what is something that you struggled with in school that had you had the freedom to do it maybe your own way, you don't feel like it would have been a problem?
Well, I would say, well, a lot of things I wish I could just do it my own way, and I think I wouldn't have had a problem. But that's probably what actually that is the problem, right?
Yeah.
But no, for seriously, for me, school was something I struggled with. I had a point 0.6 GPA at one point in time. Academically, I struggled,
Oh
and
wow.
I struggled with the not being a bright kid. That's really looking back and all humility. That wasn't my problem. My problem was falling in line with uh, in which how I was being judged. Right? You know, you judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree, and that fish is seemingly going to be stupid. That's because that fish wasn't designed to climb a tree, right?
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
so I feel like a lot of times I was that fish being judged on how well I can climb a tree rather than
Hmm.
one. And so, in relationship to that, I really had to realize that what is school for, and how does school operate, and what's the game of school? Like, I'm a competitor. I
Hmm.
love to compete. It's by nature. That's why I had a opportunity to play in the NFL, and a lot of the other things that I do revolve around competing with somebody or something. And I never saw or understood the competition of school, but I realized it was a game, right? It really didn't matter how bright I was or how smart I am at all, to be quite honest. It's about getting the answers right for a test.
Right.
And it's about making somebody in front of you, right, earning a favorable opinion of the teacher. And so once I realized that that's the game I'm playing, I became good at it. And so I studied different, right, and I didn't fight school as much. And a lot of people graduate from high school, and I talk to kids about this a lot because a lot of people just don't like school. They just
That's
don't.
facts.
I don't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't at all. And so yeah, clearly I had a point 0.6. I wasn't having fun. But
Hmm.
I tell kids though how important and pivotal school is, and why they need it, and how to succeed in it. And I've seen so many kids kind of just change their attitude towards the brick and mortar of school and actually own it and have fun with it and compete in it and look at it as a game, like I did. Now, from an adult standpoint, right? Like from a parent standpoint, you might not want your kid to look at it how I saw it, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's about the result, right? And I ended up resulting in achieving so much more by looking at school as a game, because I like playing games. So that's something that really helped me. If I could go back, I would have set the stage of school as a game very early instead of looking at it at this prestige brick and mortar.
That's a really cool perspective. I think like a lot of our scholars come into Freedom School. He's just gonna like mimic everything I say.
Yeah, let them jump on. I like it.
Say what's up. Say it. Oh, you're gonna be shy now. A lot of our scholars come into Freedom School not really understanding that they do have the freedom to learn. They do have the freedom to learn how they learn best. And we have so many parents every summer that are going like, I don't think my kid's going to do well. I'm really worried, that my kid's going to come in and they're going to do a day and never want to come back. My kid really struggles with reading, all the things. And then they get here and they're allowed to, if they can't sit still in a class, they're allowed to walk around the room while the class is happening. If they need a break from the conversation, they're allowed to go take a break from the conversation. If they don't do well with the reading part, but they're really into the creative activities, they're allowed to focus more on that. And so we see growth in places where I think like the school system doesn't really have the flexibility to be able to a lot of times give them that space to grow in the way that would be best for them. So I do think like even that perspective shift of, hey, this is a game and here's how I win at it, for a lot of kids, especially competitive kids.
Yeah.
And whatever is going to help to get them, like you said, to that result. As a parent, you go ahead, man. Like you do whatever you need
Right.
to get through school, because I was the same way. I hated school. I didn't want to be there. I have always said as an adult that had I known at 14 that I could get a GED, I absolutely would have just gotten a GED and gotten out of school, because I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it was helping me at all. I felt like I was being taught how to test. And I was failing at that.
Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, I got a whole chip on my shoulder with standardized testing and everything. We'll save that for the next one. But I love this conversation just about like discussing alternatives, which is a big part of why the listening exists. My history in mental health, I've seen a lot of kids that are in the school setting that get in trouble all the time for, talking too much, or they can't sit still. And I'm like, well, if we put some dancing shoes on them, what would happen? Or if we gave them a rhyme book, like, what would happen? What would be the thing to take advantage of what they clearly have within them and push them towards something else? With this year's theme of our National Day of Social Action being youth justice, we're talking about the number of youth and the money spent to incarcerate our young people. What would be some great alternatives from your perspective? Because you're in a lot of different worlds. You're a poet on the gram, you're a dancer on the TV, you're a ball player. What would be some great alternatives in our justice system to kind of sidestep a step away from imprisoning our youth?
I said that's a loaded question. That's a can of worms right there, right?
Yeah, it is.
So,
yeah, it is.
Like one of the things I focus on through my foundation is reading, education, and literacy. Right? And the reason why I do that is, one, because I struggled academically. I had a reading comprehension deficit. And it's a real interesting story of how I've come to realize in part why I struggled reading. Maybe we can get into that, but there's 85% of people that are incarcerated have a reading level of third grade or below.
Right.
That's the numbers, right? And so it's something there for us to analyze with those numbers, that if a kid is able to read at a fourth grade level or above, somehow they become more of a law-abiding citizen. And you start looking at the lifestyle that you start looking at the lifestyle of a person that is incarcerated prior to, and you start to ask yourself, was reading a large part of their life? It's, again, man, really, it's something about the ability in itself just to be able to read that causes you to have more peace, right? I relate reading to if you're in an elevator, it's just like language. If you're in an elevator and you don't know a lick of French, and you're in there with people that are speaking French, you have no idea what they're talking about. You are more likely willing to or feeling some type of possible fear because you don't know what they're conversating about, right? Now, if they're speaking English and you're listening, you are less fearful because you know. There's something about just knowing, right, and understanding that causes us peace in life in itself. Reading and being able to read a contract, right, to know your rights, right, it causes you to have peace and not be stifled because you understand, right? And understanding is a big part of why people succeed in life, fail in life, the lack thereof, or again have peace. And so when we're talking about how to like how to get people, you know, less incarcerated or what's a better way to handle things, is really to help them be able to understand. And that's an art in itself, and that comes from somebody who has the ability to really teach, and not only just teach what's the curriculums that's in front of them, because that's what a lot of teachers are forced to do. They're not like me as a football player. I'm forced to make the plays that are in front of me. They give me a playbook and I have to perform these plays. Now, I, as the player, can realize, you know what? This play ain't going to work. I'm in the game. I know this play ain't going to work, but guess what? I have to perform that play. Now I have a little bit more freedom, whereas, you know, it's result oriented in the NFL. Like, here's the play, but if you go out there and score a touchdown, trust me, we ain't gonna cut you. You know, whereas a teacher, it's where is the results? How do you see the results? Like, what are they judged on, right? They're judged on making you learn what's in front of you, not necessarily making you learn about life. So it's tough. But to answer your question, man, I don't know the answer other than I have better questions I think that should be asked to the people in the power that be. But I will challenge everybody to focus and buckle down as a starting point, especially for young kids, is the ability to comprehend and read.
Can I double dog dare you and ask what one of those questions would be? Because that's dope. I think to one just be like, I don't got the answer, Sway. Like, that's great, and I don't think young people hear adults say I don't know enough. But if you're coming from a perspective like, no, I got questions though. Like, what would one of those questions be? Just one.
No, to talk about to the powers that be of why. One question I want to know is to anybody in the school industry is. Especially because we're adults, right? So the adults are making the decisions for the children. And as an adult, I know I have very seldomly utilized a lot of the material that I was forced to learn in school today, yesterday, or for any amount of period after I used it. Like, I would like testing. I'm regurgitating what I was told for like a day, and then I don't apply it anywhere for the rest of my life.
Right.
I have not applied any of my history lessons. Like the Boston Tea Party has never in my life affected any of my decisions, or unless if I want to go teach and be a historian, then I understand that, right?
Social action, man.
Now it's awesome for me to understand it, to be able to explain and articulate it, but to be judged on it is another thing. And here's the thing the biggest struggle for me with testing. You want me to get the answers correct. After I take the test, I realize I was wrong. Like, let's multiple choice, A, B, C, D. I put B. I realized the answer was C now. The whole point of going to school is to learn. So if I take the test, now I know the answers. So how about test me twice? Why are you seeing if I got it right before you taught it to me? Or if I understood, like, it's about me getting it right. So
Yeah.
allow me to redo it.
Mm.
Like, seriously, just allow me to redo it. Why? Because now I can show you, oh, I do understand. My bad. Thank you for teaching me.
Right.
I know the answer now. And if you ever ask me that again in life, I'll get it right. And that's what it's about. It's about getting it right later. Because every kid, whether you, if I got an A on it, if I got an A and I knew the answer was B, and if I put it with C, at the end of the day, the person that put B now realizes they were 100% right, and the person that put C realizes no, B is the answer. So we all headed in the same direction now. So I would ask about retesting. I would say, why can't we retest? If school is about me learning, let me retest to prove I learned it.
Yeah.
Without being penalized.
I'm just going to say my 7th grade math teacher husband does that. So maybe he's ahead of the curve.
That's awesome.
He found the code.
Awesome.
He found the code.
But I will say, like, he's kind of, when people ask him what he does as his regular job, and he's like, oh yeah, I teach, 7th grade math. And the next thing out of his mouth is usually, that's the year where I'm starting to teach them things that they're not going to hold on to, or that they're not going to end up using. And he's like, so as much as he likes it and he likes math, he also understands that all of his kids are going to need to use it in the future.
Yeah.
But he does, I know that in his class, he's doing a lot to be able to change that dynamic that you were talking about. And one of the things that they've started doing, at least like him and his co-teacher, is they understand that certain teachers or certain students understand certain teachers and the way that they teach it, whereas like they're not understanding the way that maybe their main teacher is teaching it. And so they will switch classes a couple of days a week to see if like the kids that aren't picking it up will pick it up from a different teacher trying to teach it their way. So I know that there are things that are being done, at least from my side, where I'm seeing like, oh, I wish my teachers had tried it like this, or I wish I had had another chance to take a test. Yeah, I have lots of issues with the school system.
It would be really cool. It'd be really cool if we could call a mulligan in our academic journeys. Right? Like, I think that would help a lot of us and our career prospects.
Yeah. Because you go through a system and like it's college too.
Yeah.
But you know that's life in itself, right? Mm-hmm. We're looking for people to mimic. Right. And this is why I'm very big on living a life worth mimicking. Mm-hmm. I say that a lot to people because everybody's following and repeating what they see typically. It's very, very seldom are people creating something that's never been done.
Yeah.
It's not much new under the sun. So for me, I find it very important to find the people that I believe are worth mimicking instead of blindly following people that I'm unconscious about. And as a child, I noticed I was following a lot of people that I really wasn't choosing. Per se, it was because it's in front of me. Now that I'm an adult, I can actually go out of my way to find the proper trainers and find the people that I can put my visual on to mimic. And so I encourage people, live a life worth mimicking, because somebody's staring at you today, listening to you today, going to repeat what you're saying or doing, your efforts or lack thereof, because they have nobody else to look at. And so, creating that environment that you want around you is not the easiest. It's a simple idea, but it's not easy.
Right. Yeah. The execution is always the tricky part.
Absolutely. Execution, applications of everything, man. Mm-hmm. And that's where the work's at.
Yeah. I got one more question for you, man.
I have a question too when you're done.
Oh, you do?
Ask
okay,
away.
Let's get your question.
I got some time.
Get my question out of the way. Okay, as long as Rashad has time. So, Rashad, Fun fact about me is I used to be a personal assistant for NFL players and coaches down in Tampa. So because of that, and because I also used to manage nightclubs, I've met lots of athletes, lots of celebrities, all the people. And I'm sure you can probably relate when I say that a lot of the people that I looked up to were total disappointments when I actually met them. So first I want to say it's refreshing to talk to you and you not be a total disappointment. But in all seriousness, I've seen how all of these people, so I went to church with Tony Dungy, who is like one of the best men I have ever met in my life, and he lives up to everything anyone has ever said about him. Um, a lot of the people that I worked for, amazing, amazing people. And then, like I said, some of them just really disappointing when you actually like get around them or see how they are in real life. Who is somebody that you have been around that you had kind of an image of them in your head and they actually lived up to it?
Yeah, that's a good question because I know exactly what you mean. And I see, unfortunately, I've seen that too a lot.
It's ugly. It's
And
real
yeah, you
ugly.
meet some of these celebrities, like I've got a chance to meet tons. I mean, tons of celebrities. I've rubbed shoulders with them all. It's not one big name that pretty much I haven't met. And so some of them you're like, really? You act like that?
Yeah.
So I know what you mean, but some people that like, wow, yo, that's a stand-up person all the way around. I actually got a chance to meet Tony Dungy. And
It's the
so
sweetest.
I know what you mean, right? And when you meet him, and it's like, wow, that's a genuine dude that is just actually successful and cares and is not putting on like a facade for people to kind of like buy into. It's
Right.
just genuinely him. It's pretty cool to see. So for me, it's sad that I don't have just a Rolodex of names coming at you. But you know what? Like one of the football coaches I met, Tom Coughlin, just a genuine dude that really cares about his players and people around him, just like people. The janitors type of people. Um, I've got a chance to. I could list some names that you guys probably may have never heard of. Oh, but I will say that just genuine people. It's surprise like people that surprise me too. On the other side, where maybe they don't seem like they are or don't portray like the most genuine type of person, but like once you get to know them, you see, wow, I didn't realize that they had went through so much or how much they do for people silently.
Oh, yeah.
Kate Hudson, she does so much for people but she won't tell nobody nothing. And I'm like, huh, I didn't know. Like that's awesome. Like so you see like in the media world and Hollywood world, you meet so many people that actually stand for so many amazing things, but sometimes they don't share it. And then you meet some people that stand for so many amazing things, but that's not them.
Right.
And so you see all sides. But the best, I always tell people, well, here's something I live by. It's not a quote I live by, but it's a quote that's written in such a way that I try to live my life in a manner that if somebody was watching me, it would cause them to write these words. And it's the master and art of living shows little distinction between their work and their play, their labor and their leisure, their love and their religion. They simply pursue everything they do with excellence, leaving others to decide, are they working or are they playing? But to them, they're always doing both. And I've noticed people that live in a manner that would cause somebody to staple them with that quote. they give
Where's
that
that quote from?
Anonymous.
Dang,
It's
that's a hard hitter.
It is. It's something I stumble across from my readings. Something that I just don't enjoy doing. but I realize the results that come from reading, right? And so I tell people, everything you do doesn't, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I like school and I like reading. It's like, well, Rashad, why do you talk to kids about reading? It's so important, and do well in school if you don't even like it, because I don't have to like everything that's necessary to be successful. I'm not going to lie to somebody and say I love school. No, I don't. Can't stand it. That's why I did good at it, so I can get out of it. So I tell these little knucklehead kids, listen, you ain't gotta like this school, man. It's not about whether you like it. I never asked you once, do you like school? I don't care if you like it. Honestly, I'm telling you what you need to do to be successful. Period. You don't let school be the obstacle that holds you down. If that's how you look at it.
That's a t-shirt.
You know what I'm saying?
Rock, get on that. That's a t-shirt.
Don't let school hold you down. Go ahead and pass that thing. Seriously.
Exactly.
We have kids that hate like group discussion or group activities. And we keep trying to tell them, like, listen, the rest of your life is one big group activity, pretty much no matter what job you have.
No matter what.
So you better get over that real quick.
Get comfortable. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got one more question for you, man. This is going to ask for a bit of imagination on your behalf. And it's a complete the sentence. Our theme this year for our National Day of Social Action is youth justice. Now, the definition of justice has been looked at, analyzed, disassembled, destructured, like all of that. My question to you is to complete the sentence. Youth justice is what? What would youth justice be? If you had to use your imagination and imagine what the perfect case of justice would be for our young people, what would that be? It doesn't have to be one word, but a sentence would suffice.
Youth justice is, and then ...
Yeah.
I would say youth justice is a promissory note that will return in the future.
Ooh,
based upon how it's treated.
Please say more, because please add more to that.
It's a garden, and a lot of people, there's difference between hunting and gardening. Hunting, I'm out there looking for immediate results. Gardening, I already know before I started, I was not going to see the results until from time now, right? And so justice is very similar, where you will see the results of it. It's just not, it's unfortunate that it's not immediate. It's more like the residue. It's more like it's the sawdust, and it's not the wood, right? It's the byproduct that people constantly are being scraped by, and we are humans, right? I'm not even gonna say we live in a world today that is this. It's always been this way. We are human beings that it is very difficult for us to realize the power of investment and realize the results of investment. I've personally, I've never drank alcohol a day in my life. I'm 36 years old. I've never smoked anything a day in my life. And I asked somebody just jokingly, right? Like, I'm with some of my friends, and I'm the biggest goof. I have fun more than anybody, right? Like, alcohol does not equal fun. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's alcohol equals a beverage. So I don't drink, and I had a conversation with somebody, and we were looking at this alcohol they were drinking, I was like, how much you probably think you? Because they asked me, Rashad, you want to drink? And I'm like, nah. And there's always this awkwardness. Why don't you drink? And then I'm like, listen, man, I got to tell you this long story. Listen, I just don't want to drink today. And they're like, well, have you ever? And it's this whole deal. People are just in awe. They want to know why you're not drinking. So I said, let me tell you like this. And this relates to your question. Every drink you've ever had in your life, alcohol. Imagine if you poured all of that inside of a fish tank. How large do you think that fish tank will have to be in order to hold all the alcohol you've ever drank in your life? And they got scary. It was like, sheesh, I never thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, you don't think a lot. How'd you get an A? So, you don't go to school. Jokingly, I said that.
Right.
So I was like, yeah. So one person said, man, it'd probably be a pool worth. Right. Mm-hmm. And I looked at them and I said, okay, so you got a pool worth of poison that's entered your system. I have never had that. Don't you think over time we will see results? Don't you think that I will look different, think different, move different if I continue not to put that in my body? And then I said the same thing with food. I said, look how much bacon you've eaten in your life. Look how much whatever. If you accumulate everything that's ever entered into your body, ever in your entire life, and you looked at it, right, all at the same time, you would be amazed. Like, yo, I can't believe I ate that much of whatever. And then you start to figure out, why am I having health problems?
Yeah, the investment.
It ain't rocket science. You know, a lot of people are not willing to invest in the future. Justice for a child is very similar. It's a promissory note. In which you and how will return in the future. Like, so you really need to think about fairness, equality and what it is. You need to rethink about the system. I mean, everything in life is advanced. Everything. The first car ever made, the first vehicle ever made compared to today is vastly different.
Yeah.
The education setting from the very first day that it was institutionalized compared to today is very similar. Change it. Change it.
We went over numbers with our scholars of it's for one scholar for 1 year of public school in Virginia is about $11,000. For one scholar for 1 year at Virginia Tech tops out at around, I think it was $40,000 or $50,000. For one scholar, 1 year in a Virginia youth jail or prison, $270,000. Right.
Yeah.
So if we're putting more money into public school versus putting all the money into like, oh, well, now we have to rehabilitate and keep them here, really, to put the money into public school and to put the money into teachers versus then having to put it into the consequences instead is ridiculous.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, to run this Freedom School program for one summer, at least 60,000
for 30 kids.
30 kids. Yeah, that
not even one kid. 30 kids.
That investment piece rings true and rings loud.
So what you're doing in the community, what the listening is doing in the community, what all of these other nonprofits are trying to do, this is the best prevention. This is the absolute best prevention. But for whatever reason, like our nonprofits struggle to get money every year. Whereas like taxpayer money is really a lot of it is going into youth incarceration.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's interesting. It's kind of scary.
It is
Yep.
kind of scary. But like I said, some of the best parts of the summer is having those conversations with our kids and seeing like their eyes open up to the reality of it, which is why we wanted to work with middle and high school age kids, because they can start to think critically about these really big things. And I'm sure you like, with the kids that, participate with Camp 180, like interacting with them and seeing how the wheels turn quite a bit. It's so dope to witness, man. Um, we really do appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. Um, Before
Thanks
we
for not being
transition,
a disappointment.
for real,
I'm glad I didn't disappoint you.
I hope this is not our last time doing something, man. I know that the pandemic has definitely shot a lot of our hopes and dreams down. But anytime you want to collab again with the listening, just let us know.
Absolutely, and I appreciate everything that y'all doing and stand for. It's one kid at a time,
Yeah.
and again, that's you're paying dividends for the investments. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, and I tell you, I'm an uncle 9 times, right? So I've had an opportunity to watch 9 kids grow up looking up to me in my every movement and trying to emulate me. Um, all my little nephews right now playing football, going to college, like they 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 want to be better than Uncle Shad, right?
Hey, that's what you
And
want.
right, and so I'm so brutally honest with these kids. Is to the point where my mom like, Charlie, don't say that. I'm like, no, they got to know
Hmm.
the real truth. And the real truth is a lot of people are not going to succeed like they want.
Hmm.
It's just the truth. Like
Yeah.
it's don't get mad at me because I'm telling you it's raining outside. I didn't make it rain. No, I didn't do it.
Uh,
I just want you to be aware of the rain so you can use an umbrella or you can make sure you're properly dressed. You know, I don't get mad at the messenger, right? And
right.
so a lot when I talk to kids, I let them know usually when it's in a group setting of one to two, 20 to hundreds of kids, I let them know majority of you, a very small percentage of you will probably even comprehend what I'm saying, okay? And or care right now. It's probably going to be too late for you again for us to hit that mulligan, right? Like
Yeah.
because a lot of loving people and parents realize this, and what do? We do things like this. We try to give back to that child we were, because if we would have known what we know now, boy,
Listen,
I tell you, it'd have been different,
listen, listen.
Oh,
right? So that's what we're doing right now. We're
Mhm.
trying to rekindle that relationship with the young version of ourselves and help. And by doing that, we emulate that with other people, right? And so I tell kids, and I'm saying this because they may listen. You know, I nobody can tell you, nobody can make you use that properly. Nobody can make you be great. The only thing we can do is tell you either how to or how we did it.
Mm.
Now you have to take from that and learn to the biggest word for apply.
Applied, yeah.
Knowledge is not power. To me personally, in my opinion, knowledge isn't no power. Knowledge is just knowing. The ability to apply knowledge is powerful. And so there's another side of application that will forward to more success. And success is not monetary either. Success is just being able to handle
Yeah.
dot dot dot, right? Handle. How do you handle things
Hmm.
in a manner that you can, in your maturity, look at and be proud of? Because people can handle things however they want and say, yeah, I'm not. But in your maturity, right? Like, so how do you mature faster? How do you see life from an adult's perspective? How do you see it from our perspective now today? And I say this, I say that because we do, as us, as adults, we look back and say, man, if I'd have known what I know now. So even for you guys, right, and anybody, I always say this to my friends. I hope, this sounds silly, y'all get it though. I hope you can look back at today and say, what the heck was I doing? The only way you can look back at your life and say, yo, I could have done this a lot better. The only way you can do that is if you are growing and maturing. Otherwise, you always think that what you were doing was proper.
Right. And you can't really grow from being all that. So
right. So let's continue to stay ahead of the curve. And I, as this is the listening, I love listening, and so I'm gonna keep listening to the youth, our community, and how I can insert my expertise, knowledge, or just my heart to help a kid see a brighter future for themselves.
we appreciate you, man. We definitely
So
appreciate you. Thank you for spending this morning with us, this kickoff to our last week of Freedom School. If anybody needs any information at all about what the listening is up to, once again, check out our website at welcometothelistening.org. Shad, how can they learn more about the Rashad Jennings Foundation?
Absolutely. You can go to RashadJenningsFoundation.org. You can go to RashadJennings.com to filter all the things that I'm doing. I'm at Rashad Jennings on every single social media platform there is. I'm going to continue to do some really, really fun things in the community, especially of Lynchburg. And
you on TikTok though?
Yes, just got it.
All right. I'm gonna hit you up.
I got tired of these kids saying you need to. Where's your TikTok? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
y'all got it.
If you need any help with TikTok, let me know, Shad. I got you.
I'm even on Twitch now. I'm on Twitch streaming. I game a lot. I'm starting the esports. I play Warzone all the time.
Let's go. See, now you're talking my language.
Yeah, I just won my first tournament in Vegas. I played in, and I'm having fun learning about that community. And truly, like with the gaming community, I'm really realizing there's a lot of mentorship that's allowed to be there. And for kids on at 10 p.m. playing a video game with me, guess where he ain't?
Ooh, right. That's a fact.
So let's reevaluate how we're looking at a kid playing a video game.
Absolutely, man. Thanks once again. You enjoy the rest of your week. To our parents, we look forward to seeing you guys at our finale or at our rally this Wednesday down at Jefferson Street. Everyone else, if you need any help or just have any questions, reach out, hit us up, slide in our DMs. We don't mind. We'll see you guys later. All right.
That's my TikToks.
Peace.